Welcome to this special Yankee Chronicle. I'm your host, Abby Peel. Our Laura James had a chance to sit down with the new superintendent of the Kearsarge Regional School District. She had a chance to visit with him and find out where he came from, who he is, and his vision for the future of our local schools. After these messages from the businesses that make our show possible, we'll join Laura with her interview.
This program is supported by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Their full-service model offers oil delivery, propane, motor fuels with design, installation, service, and maintenance of all types of oil, gas, and alternative energy systems, as well as air conditioning, water conditioning systems, and backup generators. Their highly trained and friendly staff will assist you throughout the process of buying, installing, and servicing a full line of energy products. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire since 1997, with roots going back much further as the country press, AccuMail, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications. Main Street Bookends of Warner, for books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner. The Innertown Record, your weekly hometown community newspaper covering the Kearsarge Sunapee Sunshine region of New Hampshire. The Innertown Record.
Welcome back to this special edition of Yankee Chronicle. Let's now join our Laura James and her visit with John Fortney, the new superintendent of the Kearsarge Regional School District. Hi, Laura.
Thanks so much, Abby. A special day today. We have an introduction for Kearsarge and for everyone. We're so happy to be here. We're joined by Superintendent John Fortney. Hi, Superintendent.
Hi, good morning, Laura. Thank you so much.
Oh, we're so glad you're here.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes, so you are the new superintendent of the Kearsarge Regional School District.
Yes, ma'am. Very proud. Week 2. Hitting the ground.
So you know where the microwave is.
Exactly. Yes. And I know how to turn my computer.
There we go.
So luckily they have automatic lights in my office, so I don't have to worry about that part. But couldn't be more excited to be part of this community and this Kearsarge family, and just absolutely honored to be in this role.
Well, we're so grateful you agreed to sit down and really have everyone get to know you.
Yes.
So you've come a long way.
Yes, so we a little bit. So my wife and our grandkids moved out here from Northeast Missouri.
Northeast Missouri.
Yes, ma'am. So we were about 45 minutes southwest of Hannibal, Missouri. So,
gotcha.
Huck Finn, Tom Sawyer land.
And truly,
yes,
truly like
absolutely
that
it was.
Environment.
Yep. And so we had the opportunity to do this, and I'm sure we'll get into a lot of the reasons behind that. But family was able to move out here end of April. Grandkids were able to finish school in Bradford, so we had a rising kindergartner and first grader, which is a lot of fun.
Yes.
Wife was a retired special ed administrator and in Missouri, and so she's just enjoying every bit of it. But they had a chance to kind of dive in for the last end of the school year to kind of make connections and make friends and all that.
And that helps. So when they start the school year, they'll be good to go.
Yeah, because when summertime comes quick, and the big concern is, where are we going to hang out with? And the grandkids, when they go to camp, is, will I see my friends? And luckily for them, they have their grandfather's personality, and so they can make friends wherever they go.
And summer's a small window here in New Hampshire, so that's a very good thing.
Yes, ma'am.
So education is in the family, both you and your wife.
Yes, yeah. So just growing up, my parents were not formally educated, but were highly educated, well-read, and things like that. And so I was blessed to have parents that demanded, you go to school and you be involved in things like that. The funny story is my bachelor's degree, I went to Hamilton College. I grew up outside of Syracuse.
Oh my goodness! So you're
I'm kind of a Northeast boy.
Yes, you are Northeast
to do that.
boy, yes.
We moved around a lot. My dad was in the manufacturing business as a maintenance manager, so we moved across the country a lot growing up. But bulk of my time was spent just outside of Syracuse and went to Hamilton. But my bachelor's degree is actually in anthropology with an archaeology focus.
That's wonderful. General education.
Yes.
It gives you a good, broad perspective.
100%.
And did you did you go right on for your master's? Did you go into education? What did you?
No, I was actually a practicing contract archaeologist in New Mexico for a number of years. I was.
How wonderful.
Lived in New Mexico. My parents at that time had moved to Missouri, and it was just time for a change in my life, and so I moved there. I met my wife, who's is a St. Louis native, born and raised, and so that was kind of the anchor. And I had a chance to do some coaching when I was in college, and really enjoyed the impact of working with young people, and took an education course. But archaeology was really that big passion. And really, when I got to Missouri, I did a little substitute teaching, and that was kind of the end of it. I had a teacher retired, was getting ready to retire, and she's like, I don't know what you're going to do with your life, but you need to be in front of kids.
Oh, isn't that, you talk to a second career teacher,
Yeah.
and it is, there's nothing like that.
It was an
passion you
absolute game
feel.
changer.
No, just curious, what did you coach?
So
We're all
I've coached
about
a little bit
athletics here at
everything, yes.
Kearsarge.
So I've been a head football coach. I've been a head track coach. I coached wrestling. One summer, I worked at a neighborhood pool, and I was actually a head swim coach, which is I don't know how great I was at it, but I did it. We were excited.
Coaching is coaching. Kids are kids.
Yeah, working well,
Yes.
and that's the thing is I got to work with kids. They happen to do the same
Right.
sport, and so we looked at
that's
things like
wonderful.
that. So athletics, actually, even I did a little stint was a professional indoor football coach for a while. So that was kind of I've kind of been all over the place. Growing up, we had sports, news, and music going on in my house all the time. So
that is
it was
just wonderful.
enrichment is kind of what those were. And education was the thing, as my mom always said, that they can never take that away.
That's exactly the phrase. And it sounds like education shows you.
Yes.
You know,
very
you
much
had
so.
someone say to you, this is what you need to do.
And that really was kind of the run of that. So I was actually an alternative. Missouri had an alternative program called the Transition to Teaching program.
Yes.
So they were taking people with bachelor's degrees and they were switching them over into second career people. And so I didn't go through the formal, 4 years of undergrad student teaching. It was like, we took some summer classes, a summer institute, and then they threw you into the deep end of the pool. And
That's
it was
wonderful.
Amazing.
Now, Superintendent Fortney, we're going to be speaking more about why education, and especially why Kearsarge.
Yes.
So thanks so much. We'll be back with more with Superintendent Fortney coming up.
This program is supported by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Their full-service model offers oil delivery, propane, motor fuels with design, installation, service, and maintenance of all types of oil, gas, and alternative energy systems, as well as air conditioning, water conditioning systems, and backup generators. Their highly trained and friendly staff will assist you throughout the process of buying, installing, and servicing a full line of energy products. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating.
COVID-19 vaccines are safe and effective at protecting you from COVID-19, especially severe illness and death. Vaccinated people are far less likely to be hospitalized or die because of COVID-19, including the Delta variant. COVID-19 has a much harder time spreading in a vaccinated population. When more people are vaccinated, we are all better protected against COVID-19. Even if you're young and healthy, it's still important to get vaccinated. Vaccines can help end this pandemic. To get the most protection, make sure you get all recommended doses of a COVID-19 vaccine. Getting vaccinated helps protect you and others from COVID-19.
Well, we're back with Superintendent John Fortney, who is the new superintendent of the Kearsarge Regional School District. Well, hello again, Superintendent.
Hello.
Well, we've heard a little bit about your background, and just, I think we could chat all day.
I really do. I really do. I don't know if we have that kind of time. But
I think what I'm hearing is that your emphasis is all about the kids.
it's first and foremost to what we do. When we talk with our leadership team, and where I came from, Missouri, we talk about jobs and roles. And my belief is that everybody's job that works for the district is to educate kids. My role as a superintendent is to ensure that we have policies in place and that we're being fiscally responsible and we're meeting those needs. Custodian, same kind of thing. A custodian's job is to educate kids. Their role is to maintain the cleanliness in the facility, so that way that happens. So that when we talk about big rock stuff, we spend a lot of time talking about those things.
And that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're answering my question. My next question was going to be, how did you get from educator, teacher, into administration, and then being a superintendent?
So I jokingly say this, I never wanted to be an administrator. honestly. My master's degree is in sports psychology because I was a coach and knew that I could take that degree and use it today. And so I'd seen these administrators, people that had gone to administration, and I didn't really, I don't know if I necessarily didn't see the value of it, but I hadn't really had the hook. And so I had, at one point in my life, we took a pause, and I was coaching at the college level, and I was working part-time at a large suburban high school in St. Louis, and was doing case management for non-special needs kids, and was responsible for, they would assign me, and I was working with one assistant principal that was just amazing. Dr. Ryan Sherp is his name, and he's still in administration. And he said, you need to go get your master's in administration. And I said, why? He goes, you're doing a lot of the things that I get to do every day, but then you get to the financial, but I'm making so much more money than that, and I would have done the job I did in the daytime for free. And I'm like, so I can make a career out of this. So I wound up going to the University of Missouri in Columbia, and wound up in their educational specialist program rather than their master's degree program. And so that was this 30,000-foot view of district administration. And it was like going to revival every weekend. Like we would go in and all these excited young, pre-administration folks, and we could solve the problems of the world. And then Monday come and you find out, well, that didn't work. And then the next weekend, but it was absolutely amazing because I got to see, I love coaching and I love building capacity in people and I love service. And I saw the administration position as an opportunity to truly be of service and to be able to coach and to have such a ginormic impact. And so that was kind of that lead in. So then once you have the degree, and then it's like, okay, now we can go and do this. And it was kind of every step of the way was that opportunity to have a greater sphere of influence. Love working with kids. I still have my bus license and drove a bus at my district in Missouri. I drove our kindergartners to the pumpkin patch every year. I drove supervision bus trips. It is just that, what can I do to help?
Right.
And the goal is, and when I tell people, my job is to be the bulldozer. My job is to plow the road so everybody can do their job.
It's a really nice way of framing it. It really is. Boy, I'm glad you had that conversation with Dr. Sherp, I believe it was. Yes,
100%.
Yeah, because your enthusiasm and energy is clear. Yeah. And what I hear you saying is that you stand shoulder to shoulder with everyone in the district. We're all
100%.
Educating our children.
Well, if everybody's job is to educate kids, then there is no hierarchy. It's a structure of support.
Gotcha. I think administration was a natural tie-in. It sounds like it.
I love what I do. I have the best job. I have a get-to life, and I have a get-to job.
Tell us a little bit more about it. You have a get-to life.
I don't wake up any morning saying I have to go to work. I wake up every morning with the idea I get to go to work. I get to live in this state. I get to live in this wonderful school district and be part of this community. There's nothing in my life that I have to do. The things that I do are choices. And so because they are my choices, I'm going to make the absolute best of them, and I'm going to engage with the good and the bad, because at the end of the day, it's a get-to opportunity.
That's a great phrase. I think you'll have to speak about that at Summer Institute with everyone.
It probably will make its way into some of the ideas.
I really do. And when we come back, we're going to find out a little bit more about where Superintendent Fortney came from in Missouri, and then why he decided to come to Kearsarge.
This program is supported by Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire since 1997, with roots going back much further as the country press, AccuMail, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications.
The Lake Sunapee region is one of the few communities in the country where you can ski year-round. During the summer season, the lake provides water skiing, fishing, swimming, and boating. During the winter, Mount Sunapee Resort, located at the south end of the lake, is one of the most popular ski and snowboard destinations in New Hampshire. The views of Lake Sunapee from the trails in Sun Bowl are spectacular. For more information about visiting our beautiful area, contact the Lake Sunapee Region Chamber of Commerce.
In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. I grew up on tour with my parents. Kind of different, but we bonded over music and we talked. Honest conversations, like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic. Your honesty gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted in my own life.
And I wanted you to know, from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now, that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs. In whatever you do,
Talk, they hear you.
Well, we're back and we're speaking with Superintendent John Fortney. He's the new superintendent of schools here in Kearsarge Regional School District. And before we talk about Kearsarge, who we all love,
Oh, yes.
tell us more about Missouri.
So I'm coming directly from the Van Far School District.
Say that again, Van Far?
Van Far.
Okay.
So it's actually two towns, Vandalia, Missouri, and Farber, Missouri. So you get the Van and the Far, and so they
there we go.
hyphenated. Which it took me a little while to figure that out until I saw the seat. Small rural community, cornfields and hog farms, far as the eye can see. Very flat. You get the joke out there is you get a tall enough ladder you can see Kansas. I mean it is, but it's an agricultural farming community. So about a little over 600 kids there, K through 12. We got a pre-K program, and so doing everything. I mean, it was for me. I was the one-man band. I had my central office staff was myself, and we called ourselves the band. 2 secretaries, and we ran all those kind of things. And so trying to develop opportunities, and a lot of our work there was interesting because this was my first superintendency ever. Right at the start at the beginning of COVID. And a district which people find interesting here in the Northeast, district transitioning from a 5-day school week to a 4-day school week.
Oh my
so
goodness,
it was a double transition at the same time.
Yes.
The joke, we got through COVID the best we could, like every district did, not quite as well as I wish I'd have known how Kearsarge then would have been able to lean on Superintendent Fennenberg and get some ideas.
Yes.
But got through and built a stronger culture. And a lot of what we did there was, where we were, was building advocacy within our district, trying to get our folks to, we were in the northeast corner of the county and kind of the forgotten child, and so we really built a stable and a voice for ourselves. The New York attitude, I grew up in Syracuse, and so that came with me. But and directly from there, so while I went to large high schools and I started off and kind of had my experiences in large districts, all of my administrative experience has been in moderate to smaller rural community type things. Part of that is the ability to connect with families and be on the front line and really get to know students and their names and being engaged and involved with those kind of things. That's the biggest fear. Anytime I make a job change, it's always, like a teenage kid, will the kids like me?
Right.
And can I make those connections and can lightning strike again? Because I've been very blessed with relationships. I don't play the lottery because I get lucky with how I get to interact with folks.
That's right.
And so when we look at the idea of Missouri, it may be a lead in of, kind of why what we did is my family is very big in hiking and backpacking. We love the outdoors. We've traveled all across the country.
You're in the right place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And that was really one of the big leads. Wife had retired, and so we kind of were looking at 5 different states, and so it was Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Montana, New Hampshire.
Oh my goodness.
And a couple of years ago, it was 2 years ago this month, we had driven up to Acadia and we're on our way back, and we actually had stopped in Laconia overnight to do some camping. And my wife looked at me and she's like, "This state is amazing." And so I'm like, "Absolutely it is." And
that's wonderful, and not that different from a Syracuse.
No,
we were a little right.
No,
so
very much. Same, you have wonder when you look at things like that. The same kind of stuff that I fell in love with in Missouri and Van Far are the same things that I fell in love with immediately here in the Kearsarge district, with the idea of heavily involved families, community support, high expectations. What can we do to help? But accountability too, and that's one of the things that I really look for. That it's not a blind. At the end of the day, you're asking parents to give you their most precious commodity, their children. And so if you're going to entrust us with that, then we need to be great stewards of your money and of your kids' time, and make sure that at the end of the day, our product in our customer service is such that we're
servicing those families
100% all the time.
Students. And I love how the emphasis seems to be on families. I'd like to hear more about that. Coming up, we heard about Missouri, now we'll hear about Kearsarge coming up with our new superintendent.
This program is supported by Main Street Bookends of Warner for books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how, and we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids need to know the dangers and how to avoid them. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids, because when you talk, they hear you.
Well, we are speaking with Superintendent John Fortney. He is the new superintendent of Kearsarge Regional School District. Thanks again for joining us.
Oh, this has been so much fun.
So I'm picturing you now driving out from Missouri, and you're coming to this state of New Hampshire.
Yes.
Which I know you knew and your wife knew, but very specifically, you're in Kearsarge. What brought you to our district?
Oh my goodness, so many things. When we were looking to make a change within our lives, we wanted to find a district that provided a few different things, and Kearsarge checked all the boxes. Wonderful outdoor opportunities. Obviously, first and foremost, we weren't going to move. We were living on the tabletop of Missouri, if you would,
yes.
and needed some place where we could be involved in the outdoor pursuits. Looking for a place that had great community support, a district that had been at places that I had to do a lot of rebuilding and a lot of putting things back together, and wanted to be someplace that was well established and had a great reputation, that had phenomenal staff. I mean, the team that I get to support every day here is second to none, and I'm taking adjustments because I'm blown away every time I come across somebody with just the quality of human beings that they are that are in charge of our kids.
Wonderful. Yes.
And then looking at a place where I could bring my talents and kind of add. In my board interview, I'd said I wanted to be able to add ingredients to the recipe and make the soup better. And so that Kearsarge was all of those things and more. One of the questions I had asked earlier on by former board chair Ken Bartholomew was why, obviously the same kind of thing, why Kearsarge? And after spending a day in the district, previously everything was kind of on paper.
Sure.
You didn't get a chance to really see everything, but then I got to spend the full day with the district. And my response, frankly, was why would I not want to be part of this big, emotional, passionate monster of a district that's doing such great things for kids every day? Why would I not want to become part of this? And so the opportunity presented itself. I was blessed with the fact, I got the opportunity to be named before Thanksgiving. So I've been able to spend the last 6 months. I have flown out, we have driven out, we have been out a number of times before we finally made the full commitment of getting our family moved in to the district to see things like deliberative session, the changeover of the board in March following a community town vote. I got invited to the Newberry Town Hall meeting, which was exciting and interesting to just see direct democracy. The old social studies teacher in me.
Exactly. Loved it.
This is what we try to get our kids in Missouri to do, to be able to see all these things in action. And everywhere you turn and everywhere along the way, you see Kearsarge gear. You hear about the
Blue
importance
and gold,
of that.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, and people so excited about talking about the district and it truly being an ownership, and it's their district. It's not, even folks that don't have children in the district, obviously they're still taxpayers. Sure. It's still their district. And those are all the things that reminders. It's unbelievable.
Yes, it really is.
And that energy and those are opportunities that you can take and really just catapult stuff into the next level.
And we're a very diverse town.
Yes.
Geographically, socioeconomically, you name it. I mean, we're very varied, and people have such a pride in Kearsarge, being a Cougar and being, here.
Yes.
So it is, going to be a great challenge for you to get to know the culture and the background of each town too.
Yes, the daunting task. I mean, obviously with all the good stuff, there's some trepidation on some stuff. The geographic size of the district. Now, coming from a rural district, we had everything on one campus, but we had a large space that we spread out. With the 7 towns, board member Art Bobriff talks about 7 towns, 7 schools, 1 district.
That's right.
I've got that stamped on a leather journal in my office to remind me of that whole thing, that we have those different places. And so, being able to get to all of the different towns and spend time in those places has been
absolutely
an ongoing
essential.
mission.
And I'm sure it will be, as you continue your journey. And coming up next week, we'll be speaking more with our new superintendent, John Fortney, about his arrival at Kearsarge and also what his goals and hopes are as he enters our beautiful region and school district.
This program is supported by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Their full-service model offers oil delivery, propane, motor fuels with design, installation, service, and maintenance of all types of oil, gas, and alternative energy systems, as well as air conditioning, water conditioning systems, and backup generators. Their highly trained and friendly staff will assist you throughout the process of buying, installing, and servicing a full line of energy products. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire since 1997, with roots going back much further as the country press, AccuMail, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications. Main Street Bookends of Warner, for books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner. The Innertown Record, your weekly hometown community newspaper covering the Kearsarge Sunapee Sunshine region of New Hampshire. The Innertown Record.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for youth.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals into your body.
And nicotine, which can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media.
Many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping.
Because when you talk, they hear you.
We're back with a wonderful series of interviews with the new superintendent of schools here at Kearsarge Regional School District, and it is Superintendent Sean Fortney. Welcome back.
Thank you, Laura. It's so great to be sitting with you.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you here.
Yeah.
And you came from Missouri via Syracuse, with just great stories.
Yeah.
And I'd like to hear about, why you want to come to Kearsarge and your vision. But before that, tell me how you communicated with your parents out in Missouri.
Every avenue possible. Social media. We do, the fun snow day calls. I always have fun with things like that, and so the voice call, the parents would hear my voice on things like that. Email. A lot of it, the goal was to be as approachable as possible, and so, parents sometimes would be going and getting eggs, and they would have a question, and so again, it's the idea of that service piece, and so trying to provide as much information as possible. For us, it was you almost had to make an effort to not really know what was going on with the district, and because we can't rely just on email or just on text messages, or because parents have jobs, and there are families that the only time they use their email is for registration in August. So we've got to make sure that we're identifying those things and making the efforts. Again, coming from a customer service standpoint, the goal is to provide as much information as possible for families, so that way they're able to make informed decisions.
Well, we were raising our children. We're of similar age, they're younger. That backpack letter was key, right? It really was, and that expensive letter through the mail sometimes. But now there's so many different avenues, right?
Yes.
So it sounds like you're willing to take them all from social media to.
We're going to hit wherever we can to try to put that information in parents' hands. And a lot of it, too, is really trying to talk to families and figure out what's going on. My 24-year-old son calls Facebook the old person's social media.
The dinosaur.
But it's still active, and trying to get Twitter going, and really trying to figure out what is the best avenue for. I mean, if I'm not a Snapchat guy, but if we had constituents that said, "Listen, I communicate through Snapchat," we're going to figure out a way to get that active and get that on there, because the goal of it is never to build a wall around the district and to really, the old Wizard of Oz, don't look behind the curtain.
Yes, exactly.
But really, if it truly is the community's district, then we need to make sure the community has access to that information, whether it's positive or negative information, but just very transparent information.
That's right, and that's so significant, so important. Our Abby Peel, who hosts the show, I call her often and say, "Okay, Abby, you need to get this word out. What's the best way?"
Yes.
She's the social media queen, so she helps quite a bit
100%.
with me. Yes,
She does a wonderful job for the district too.
And it really shows how things have changed communication-wise, and we need to keep up with that. So it sounds like you really have.
We're trying. I don't know if we're always successful, but we're going to swing for the cheap seats when we can.
And the thing about Kearsarge is that help is here. Whether it's parents, your wonderful SAU staff, and your leadership team.
Yes.
You're not alone, which is
no.
You're
and
not
it's
running that
wonderful.
small district out in Missouri.
Yeah, and you have to. It's spread out with 7 campuses, and just the number of families that you're being able to engage with. It's not a one-person show, and so it is that. It's exciting to be able to have that team. It's a little daunting because it's kind of like okay, what am I going to do now? But with the size of the district, there's plenty of things to backfill those open spaces.
So speaking of that those 7 campuses, the 7 towns. A little daunting getting to know everybody and everything?
Not so much, because I love being behind the wheel of my car and being able to in places. I'm excited to see. We just did a big campus tour yesterday with the facilities team and nice. Mr. Bissett, my assistant superintendent, and opened up all the doors and went into Simon's and went into the basement and went into the attic. I mean, I wanted to see everything. If there was a sewage pump, I needed to go look in that room because I wanted to look at the state of the state. And so the biggest thing is just remembering how to get to places
That's
without having to use Google Maps to do that.
Your GPS is will be your best friend.
It's been my friend. And so understanding those places has been a lot of it, but it's so exciting. I love being around kids, and I cannot wait for school to begin. The goal is to start, the middle Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, start my day in one of the elementary schools or the high school or the middle school, and rotate through so that way you can see what's going on.
And having your face be seen too. We're going to
Yes.
speak more about your plan for doing that, your plan for the district and your goals coming up in just a bit.
This program is supported by Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire since 1997, with roots going back much further as the country press, AccuMail, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications.
The Lake Sunapee region is one of the few communities in the country where you can ski year-round. During the summer season, the lake provides water skiing, fishing, swimming, and boating. During the winter, Mount Sunapee Resort, located at the south end of the lake, is one of the most popular ski and snowboard destinations in New Hampshire. The views of Lake Sunapee from the trails in Sun Bowl are spectacular. For more information about visiting our beautiful area, contact the Lake Sunapee Region Chamber of Commerce.
We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you.
Well, we are having a great conversation today with Superintendent Sean Fortney. He is the new superintendent of the Kearsarge Regional School District. Superintendent, welcome again.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's so good to have you here. We've been speaking about your history, and you said you went on a tour of the schools
Yes.
and the towns, so you got to see some of the physical aspects of it, right?
Yes.
Now, and I think the cultural aspects will come into play as well.
Yeah, starting to see that. One of the other things too is purposely being a member of the community and residing in the district. It's important. I also get to see a different aspect because I'm also looking at it as a parent. We're with raising grandkids.
Yes.
So I get to see the district communication. I get to see what we're doing with the time changes and how busing is going to impact our lives. And so when I talk to parents and when I talk to the board or administrative team, I get to have those conversations as well. So it's been wonderful to really get to know the secretaries and the administration, and starting to slowly get to know the teachers. The list of, it's like drinking from a fire hose sometimes, just with the amount of information that comes at you, and trying to deprogram. We joked earlier about trying to deprogram my brain from Missouri and translate to New Hampshire and start to think that way. But I got my driver's license yesterday, my hard copy, so I'm official now.
So that's wonderful.
Very,
you feel like you're a member.
Yes, yeah.
So, but I have to tell you, your physical presence, your face, and having the students and the teachers and your leadership team, who you will know better than most, will be so significant. It sounds like you're really committed to that.
It's part of my personality. It's who I am. I wasn't willing to take a job if the expectation was that I was going to be in a central office or be in meetings all the time, and I lacked the ability. Coming from the district where I was at, my office was in the high school. So I could step out if I was having a rough moment. I could step out during passing period and embed myself into teenagers, which is great energy. It's crazy energy, but it's great energy. And start my day in the morning at the elementary school, greeting kids as they were coming out of their cars or coming off the bus and things like that. I'm a kid person. My mom calls me a kid magnet. I just enjoy being around young people and doing those things. And so it wasn't something I was willing to give up. And so when we build my schedule here and in doing those kind of things, the commitment is finding ways to be at those campuses so that way I'm a known commodity, and it's not a gotcha. I had a joke with a couple of principals the other day. They're going to be, at some point you may get a phone call from a teacher like, why is the superintendent in my classroom?
Right.
And the answer is because he wants to be.
That's right.
And I can't make decisions or influence decisions on things I know nothing about. So if we're going to go through that, part of my 100-day entry plan was to really examine everything that we have, the good, the bad, the ugly, and put it through a lens of, is it good for kids or not? And then from there we kind of advance. But you have to be willing to be on the ground. My dad is a big man of quotes, and he says, you're never too good to dig a ditch. And so for me, how can I be a person of service if I'm not willing to be where people need the service? And so that's the exciting part. And it's funny, I'm stressing out Mr. Bissett because I'm ready to roll. Like, I want kids in the building, I want teachers, I want to start building relationships and getting things going. And he goes, he's like, we still have stuff to plan. Right. You've got to settle down. But that's just that excitement. It's like, let's roll. Again, it's that get-to mentality of let's hit it.
Right.
But, and so it's kind of a mix of Baloo from Jungle Book meets Tigger is what you find with me. Just this hyper energy of, yeah, exactly. And so
that energy is contagious.
I hope so.
Right, isn't it? And I promise you, at every kindergarten, in every school in our district, there's a comfy rocker.
Oh.
And a great book for you to read in the mornings.
I'm excited for that.
Or after snack time. So you'll be welcome in every classroom. I'm
looking forward to all of it. It is to meet with teachers and come across people when they're doing cool stuff or innovative things, which is part of our strategic plan. I want to know. Because if I can be there, then we can highlight that stuff.
Absolutely, which is significant and important. Now, I'd like to hear more about your vision for the future, and we'll do that coming up when we continue our conversation on the way.
This program is supported by Main Street Bookends of Warner for books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side.
Little everyday conversations about the dangers of underage drinking can make a big difference in a child's life. Talk, they hear you.
Well, we're so glad to have you with us. We're speaking with the new superintendent of the Kearsarge Regional School District. It is Superintendent Sean Fortney, and it's so good to have you here.
This is so much fun.
We keep saying we'll talk about this, we'll talk, and then we just start chatting, which is really important. I think it's good for people to know. And I would like to talk about some specifics for academics and your goals in our next segment coming up. But what I'd like to talk about is, this is a very big overarching umbrella, isn't it?
Yes.
From the arts to clearly our academics and also athletics. How do you see everything meshing together?
The beauty of my job is it's kind of a lifestyle and the opportunity to be involved and engaged. When I was an assistant principal, I was responsible for fine arts and our practical arts programming, and finished up as assistant principal as a coach. So I had never really lost sight of those things, and so I look forward to being involved in going to the musical plays.
And they're wonderful too.
Is there anything better sometimes than Friday Night Lights?
Oh, nothing
looking forward to supporting the football team.
Yes.
And as we've added, we hired a new athletic director and a new associate athletic director at the middle school, and supporting them as they really kind of build things up.
So we're like the Patriots, a rebuilding year.
Well, and hopefully a reloading year. We got to just get things back up. I mean, it also, there's a great opportunity to do a lot of learning, because there are some sports that we offer at Kearsarge. We don't have hills for mountain biking in Missouri, and there's skiing and things like that. And so I'm so pumped to be able to go to those things and see stuff.
The Nordic ski race.
I've never seen one of those in my life, and I cannot wait to go. I hear there's wonderful 80s music and a lot of wonderful energy. So I really enjoyed the 80s. It was a great time for me. I had hair.
Just hit the hair bands.
Exactly. Right? And so to be involved in those kind of things, and when we look at like the district added a strength training coach just this last spring for the athletic programs. And as a former college coach and was a strength coach, looking to see how those things impact kids, because I know they will, but getting those things involved and really continuing the rebuilding, new football coach, new opportunity to kind of bring that excitement about some things again, with the district that's coming off a girls basketball state championship.
Unbelievable.
And you look at just all the wonderful athletics and activities and the level of talent amongst kids. One of the things that impressed me about the high school so much is you have to make an effort to not be involved in something. There are so many chances to get going. And you have your entire life to work. And I know we have kids that unfortunately have to work to keep the lights on. But can we find an opportunity or a club or something that they can connect to, so that way they're walking away from that experience going, it was important, it was memorable, and it was meaningful.
Right.
And that's what we look to build within those opportunities.
That's wonderful, because every student, every child needs an opportunity to shine. Yes. And to do something that's different from what they might have done otherwise. Yeah. And that's wonderful. So when I go to that game on Friday night up at the high school, we'll expect that you might be there.
You may see me on the sideline.
Yeah,
I might be on a tether from my wife, because she knows that we're going to be, that's just how we go. I mean, we were all hands on deck when I was coming from Missouri, and we want to see those things, because you can get things done. It's not a political thing or working an angle with things. Sometimes it's awesome just to want, because when you build relationships with kids, you want to see them shine.
Do you mind being approached?
No.
If I was a parent coming up and saying, Superintendent, the quick question.
Please do. I embrace that. I want that. That's how I get to know folks, because my wife calls me the extroverted introvert. I'm extroverted when I have to be, but I can go to dinner by myself. I try to avoid that because I enjoy cooking. So I make big meals that are too big. But I want those interactions. It's all about approachability. Again, it's about service. My job is I am here to serve the community, in turn, by taking care of our children.
So your door is open. You'll be communicating via social media, via backpack messages, and we can come up at the transfer station and say a quick hello.
Which is, I have never experienced that. The transfer station is a new thing for me. I finally have been, but that is a new thing.
It's the best. It's where you see everyone, your neighbors, and all the politicians who are running for office.
Apparently that happens too. I haven't seen that. I'm looking forward to that part.
That's on the way.
Yes.
And no doubt we'll be seeing him at the transfer station, and you'll be seeing us coming up for our final segment talking about the vision for the future.
This program is supported by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Their full-service model offers oil delivery, propane, motor fuels with design, installation, service, and maintenance of all types of oil, gas, and alternative energy systems, as well as air conditioning, water conditioning systems, and backup generators. Their highly trained and friendly staff will assist you throughout the process of buying, installing, and servicing a full line of energy products. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire since 1997, with roots going back much further as the country press, AccuMail, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications. Main Street Bookends of Warner, for books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner. The Innertown Record, your weekly hometown community newspaper covering the Kearsarge Sunapee Sunshine region of New Hampshire, the Innertown Record.
Can I go to the sleepover?
I want you to promise me something. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Well, we are here with our final segment with our Superintendent of Schools at Kearsarge Regional School District, Superintendent John Fortney. What a delight.
Oh my gosh,
It's
so much fun.
It's just been a joy, and you're, like I said, your energy is contagious.
Thank you.
Now, how will you be applying that energy to the future of Kearsarge? What are some of your, I hate to ask that question, what are your goals and aspirations?
What do you want to get done?
Yeah.
Right off the bat, it's getting to meet people. And my goal within the first 100 days is to at least have met every single employee in the district, at minimum. I'm learning names slowly, faces I'm great with, stories I can hang on to, but making those personal connections and really just kind of talking to people. Southern mother, that you could learn something from everybody. And I've lived enough life to know that everybody has a wonderful story if they're willing to share it with you. And when you can get them to trust you with their story, it's amazing what you get to learn. We're really on the cusp of some pretty wonderful things that are kind of building on. I mean, you can't say enough about the shoes that I'm going to have to try to fill with Superintendent Fennenberg and Superintendent Jerry Frew before him. And I come in knowing that. And so making sure we're paying homage and honoring the legacy and the work that those guys have done. Portrait of a Learner is starting to come off the ground. I was able to see a lot of that information. I'm excited to dig into Portrait of an Educator, Portrait of an Athlete, and really flesh those things out and make them from philosophy into a truly functional methodology and really part of the DNA of the district. As we're looking at innovation is a big piece of our strategic plan, really kind of honing in on some of those items. AI is one of the things that we've been talking about.
Huge.
Yep, and seeing what does that look like in an educational setting, and how can we leverage that to reach more kids and provide more opportunities, and really building on those kind of parts. You know, it's not a district that needs fixed. I know Superintendent Fennenberg on his retirement had said that that wasn't something that he came in, and it's not I don't come in here saying I'm the savior of the district. That's not the case. For me, it's adding flavor to the soup. And so when we build those things, it's project-based functioning. I love the extended learning opportunities that we go with that. How do we make that bigger? How do we make that run deeper? How do we provide opportunities for kids to really see what the world is and to engage? You know, as we're battling a lot of the stuff that we all know that with education is sometimes takes a bad rap. For me, it's let's take the opportunity, not an obstacle, but let's take it as an opportunity to rebrand who we are and to really take control and evolve and advance this educational piece. I had a superintendent years ago tell me that we are preparing kids for jobs that haven't been created yet.
Isn't that a scary thought to me?
And so we have to have a crystal ball on antiquated philosophy sometimes. Right. And so we need to modernize some of our thought processes to really get these kids going with their tech natives. I mean, I've got a 6-year-old grandson that knows how to operate an iPad better than I think some Apple developers that I've met that are in their 40s.
It's true.
You know, and so when we look at that, how do we really embrace all of that stuff? How do we get kids out of their screen and face to face with people and have the ability to go to some old school things of being able to shake hands and have that conversation about who they are and what they believe, and building resilience in kids. Just really, all of it across the board. And so it's really kind of just keeping the momentum going. And in some cases, things that may have stagnated a little bit, hopefully the energy can add a little kerosene to that fire and reignite, and we can keep things rolling.
That's wonderful. That really is. And I think from what I hear you saying, the communication will really help with that.
100%.
Because, you know, you mentioned AI, and my first thought is,
yes.
and that's a reaction that whether anything that's new will have people, you know, just take a, cause pause.
Well, change is scary, and I think what we have to do is we have to the only way to reduce the fear is exposure. Right. And so, you know, although I have a fear of snakes, and I don't think enough exposure is going to change that. But
I think you're fine here.
You know, but when we get into the idea of teaching people, giving people time to play with things, and then to see how it can benefit their lives, but in a positive way, because everything you have can be turned for a bad idea.
Absolutely. Okay, very quickly, your message to students for the upcoming year.
be ready to engage. I mean, you're going to see me around, and I look forward to having those conversations.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, Superintendent Fortney, we're so glad you're here with us, and
Thank you.
Welcome to the district, and we look forward to seeing you for many more interviews.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Back to you, Abby.
Thank you, Laura, and welcome to the Kearsarge Regional School District Superintendent Fortney. And thank you for watching this special edition of Yankee Chronicle.
This program is supported by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Their full-service model offers oil delivery, propane, motor fuels with design, installation, service, and maintenance of all types of oil, gas, and alternative energy systems, as well as air conditioning, water conditioning systems, and backup generators. Their highly trained and friendly staff will assist you throughout the process of buying, installing, and servicing a full line of energy products. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire since 1997, with roots going back much further as the country press, AccuMail, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications. Main Street Bookends of Warner, for books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner. The Innertown Record, your weekly hometown community newspaper covering the Kearsarge Sunapee Sunshine region of New Hampshire. The Innertown Record.
The Lake Sunapee region is one of the few communities in the country where you can ski year-round. During the summer season, the lake provides water skiing, fishing, swimming, and boating. During the winter, Mount Sunapee Resort, located at the south end of the lake, is one of the most popular ski and snowboard destinations in New Hampshire. The views of Lake Sunapee from the trails in Sun Bowl are spectacular. For more information about visiting our beautiful area, contact the Lake Sunapee Region Chamber of Commerce.
Those of us who live, work, and play in the Lake Sunapee region know and love the joys that our natural resources provide. Through many generations, the beauty, the stillness, and the memorable family events have soothed our souls and refreshed our spirits. But now, it is clear that our lakes, ponds, and streams need our help.
LSPA is committed to preserving and enhancing the environmental integrity of the Lake Sunapee region, especially its lakes and watersheds, despite the many challenges that lie ahead. Through education, research, and collaborative action, we can work together to avoid declining water quality and environmental degradation. We've created a public awareness campaign called Let's Be Clear to arm you with the facts so that each of us can choose actions that protect the lakes we love.
So, you might ask, what exactly is it that individuals can do? Here are a few suggestions. Eliminate the use of fertilizer, or choose phosphorus-free fertilizer and don't apply it within 100 feet of water. Use non-toxic methods to control pests and weeds. Pick up and properly dispose of pet waste. Maintain your septic system by having it pumped and routinely inspected. If you have property on lakes or streams, plant buffers near the water instead of lawns, and make sure that bare soil is covered with plants or mulch. Don't feed the waterfowl. It's not good for them, and it's not good for our lakes. Follow state and local tree cutting and construction rules that protect our water. Our lakes and ponds, pristine though they may appear, are sending us a very clear and strong, if silent, message. The essence of what they are saying can be summarized by the following 4 facts. 1. The water quality of our lakes, ponds, and streams is in decline, and we should all be very concerned. Number 2, runoff carrying contaminants from fertilizer, road salt, septic systems, and erosion, all the result of our individual and collective actions, is the primary cause of this degradation. 3, each of us can help to reverse these trends by choosing small steps that will protect water quality. And 4, inaction would be devastating, not only to our natural resources, but to our community's economy, our personal property values, and our cherished quality of life.
As development increases and storm events intensify, it's more important than ever that we all, individually and collectively, take proactive steps to protect water quality. This alarming picture of a cyanobacteria bloom was taken on Lake Sunapee in Herrick Cove. Each summer, more toxic blooms are occurring in lakes and ponds throughout New Hampshire. Such blooms have harmful effects for people and can even be fatal for pets and wildlife. This doesn't have to be our future. Our collective actions do make a difference.
Ask yourself what you can do to help. And please, share this message with friends and neighbors. To learn more or to get involved, visit lakesunapee.org.
This program is supported by H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Their full-service model offers oil delivery, propane, motor fuels with design, installation, service, and maintenance of all types of oil, gas, and alternative energy systems, as well as air conditioning, water conditioning systems, and backup generators. Their highly trained and friendly staff will assist you throughout the process of buying, installing, and servicing a full line of energy products. H.R. Clough and Kearsarge Heating. Echo Communications, a digitally integrated commercial printer and mailer located in New London, New Hampshire since 1997, with roots going back much further as the country press, AccuMail, and the home of the Kearsarge shopper. Echo Communications. Main Street Bookends of Warner, for books, toys, games, cards, gifts, and a gallery of local art. Main Street Bookends of Warner. The Innertown Record, your weekly hometown community newspaper covering the Kearsarge Sunapee Sunshine region of New Hampshire. The Innertown Record.
The Lake Sunapee region is one of the few communities in the country where you can ski year-round. During the summer season, the lake provides water skiing, fishing, swimming, and boating. During the winter, Mount Sunapee Resort, located at the south end of the lake, is one of the most popular ski and snowboard destinations in New Hampshire. The views of Lake Sunapee from the trails in Sun Bowl are spectacular. For more information about visiting our beautiful area, contact the Lake Sunapee Region Chamber of Commerce.
COVID-19 vaccines are safe and effective at protecting you from COVID-19, especially severe illness and death. Vaccinated people are far less likely to be hospitalized or die because of COVID-19, including the Delta variant. COVID-19 has a much harder time spreading in a vaccinated population. When more people are vaccinated, we are all better protected against COVID-19. Even if you're young and healthy, it's still important to get vaccinated. Vaccines can help end this pandemic. To get the most protection, make sure you get all recommended doses of a COVID-19 vaccine. Getting vaccinated helps protect you and others from COVID-19.
Prescription drug pricing points to corporate
Freedom of the press is about your right to know.
and Clark sheer athleticism.
It's about your right to be informed. Today, there are real threats to press freedom
Reaching residential areas?
and your right to know about the world around us. We must protect our right to know, no matter what kind of news is important to you. Before it's too late, understand the threats. ProtectPressFreedom.org.